So this is my feedback on the R888Rs, a tyre everybody had been telling me to get for a long time. And while I've heard nothing but good things, this is my take on them. I'm not paid to do this, I've not been given discount, nobody said to me, oh, can you make this? It's just off my own back. So the only reason I haven't bought these before was that I was in a street class last year, so I couldn't use them. But there was one worry with this tyre, and that was over tyring the car. The car is an iGo. As you can see here, the width difference is pretty big. A 165 to a 185 with a big contact patch, and I was really worried that it was going to slow the car down. So I had the car geometry done, the wheels and tyres on here. I drove it around a bit just to rubber them in. However, I didn't make the 6-hour trip on the tyres, as that's a waste of tyre. They're a soft compound. Roads in Britain aren't too brilliant, so that's what I decided to do. So the first thing I can be happy to report on these tyres is they don't slow it down too much. If you know Croft circuit, going into Tower Bend on a standard road tyre, the car would do about 80 to 90 mile an hour. Depending on the corner exit. This was slowed down by at least 7 mile an hour. Now, well, it made up for it in the corners, so it wasn't really too much of a worry. But yeah, it did lose quite a bit of its top end. I think at a circuit like Snetterton 300, where you got a massive long straight, that's when it's going to show the most. For the money, £389 for a 185 6014. It's worth every penny of it. This tyre helped me on a way to a class win. It's a very abrasive circuit at Croft, so as you can see here on the tyre, this is them after, once they've been taken back off and in the car. I reckon there's a good 2-3 seasons in these, easily. Absolutely brilliant tyre, and I'm really glad that I went for them. I think the thing is, it's in a more powerful car, even better. For this car, you do think it's a little bit overkill. But at the end of the day, there weren't that many choices as well. And while I have run an NS2R tyre in the past and given it a brilliant review, I just don't think, as it's a 180 compound, it would have heated up quick enough for me to be able to get the most out of it. There was competition in my class. He was running a 15-inch AD08R on a Yaris 1 litre. So we had a good battle through the day on the tyres. And obviously the Yaris has got a bigger wheel arch, so that could take a bit more tyre than the iGo. So this was the best for me. I could have gone for the Nankang AR1, but I've heard mixed reviews on that tyre. A few people are saying it's just cheap rubbish. Other people saying it's the best thing since sliced bread. But, you know, I rarely heard anyone saying a bad word about the R888Rs. So I'm really glad that I bought them. I know expense is a big thing on these tyres. This is 14 inch, as I've said a few times in this video, and that's £400 or £389. So I dread to think what they are once you start getting up to 18s and 19s, and some cars even on 20s these days. So yes, this is basically, I run this tyre early on in the day at 31 psi, and then as the day heated up on the track, we had a weather sort of around about 24 degrees, so track temperatures were high. I dropped them right down. The grip is almost inspiring, actually. I think I was more of a chicken than what the tyre would be able to do. I think the tyre could do a hell of a lot more than I was giving it credit for. I could have probably run more curbs. I probably could have run a bit more track extending, but it was my first outing on these tyres. And bear in mind, I got to drive the car home as well. So it's a long trip home if you damage the car. So of all the tyres that I've run, whether they be 1A spec or 1B spec, this just goes straight to the top. Straight to the top without any doubt. I'd probably say, I don't know what it's like in the wet, but I was going to say as an all-rounder, I think this would still probably be one of the best. The NS2R is still a brilliant tyre for the cost, but it's not in the same league as this tyre. The R1R, which is a Toyo tyre, I've used it a couple of years ago. Pretty good tyre, not too bad. The Federal RSR, or 595 RSR, good in the dry, really bad in the wet. Again, another cheaper tyre. So yeah, this definitely goes right to the top of tyres, and I'm very happy. And I will buy another set. Without question, I would buy another set. and hopefully I won't have to buy another set this year. They don't come in 3 compounds like the older R888s. They used to come in obviously hard, medium and soft. These are just 1 set compound. So with sprinting, basically what it is, you've got cold tyres, cold brakes, everything is cold, and it's a 1-shot lap to record a time. So that was actually another one of my worries, which has just jogged into my memory, is that I was worried it wouldn't heat up. But the first corner, they were sticky. It was brilliant. They were ready to go for the rest of the lap. And I did worry, with only 67 horsepower, again, would they heat up? That's something you just sort of worry about. You haven't got loads of power to get the wheels spinning. You off a line, you haven't got any of that. So you're just hoping the tyre will be ready for the first couple of corners, especially at Croft. It's a very fast corner with somebody putting it in the barrier on their practice run. So it's no messing about. It's not a silly circuit where you've got runoff here, there and everywhere. The first corner and tower, which comes up, tower bend comes up pretty heavily on you. That's pretty brutal as well if the tyres are going to be cold. So yeah, I would say impartial. This is my review. Go out and get yourself a set. You can buy cheaper tyres, but if you're doing track days, sprinting, this tyre is brilliant. I'll see how it goes in the wet. If I have a wet one this year or maybe next year, I can do a wet review. But I know people use them in the damp to wet. Obviously standing water is totally different. We're not going to talk about that. But as an all-round tyre, fantastic. So next on my list, it's probably a question someone's going to ask me. I actually got asked this on my last tyre video, and they said, how many miles have I done on them? Well, the circuit's about 2 miles. So if you times that by, say, 6 runs that you get, two cycling laps, and you get a practice run, not mega mileage. I did about 50-60 miles to rubber them in beforehand on the road. On the road they are absolutely brutal. So if you're thinking, right, I'm going to get this tyre and I'll just stick it on the car, the track's not far, I'm telling you, it's brutal. It's such a hard tyre, sidewall, and it's not fun to drive on the road, especially not on roads where I'm from anyway. So just get yourself a spare set of wheels and keep them for the tracks. Obviously, there's only so many heat cycles a tyre is going to take, so you don't want to be running it daily. And brilliant, you can still get the R888, but I'd go for this instead. It's a newer tyre, and it's tested and proven. So that's about it. Sorry if I mumbled a bit through this video. I don't tend to script my stuff, I just do it off the fly. I find it's a bit more natural if you do that than sitting down and scripting. It just makes it seem like you haven't really thought about it. You're just writing things down to make it sound better than it is. If it's just coming out off the top of your head, it's how you really feel. And yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully this will be the tyre for you.